Hey, what's up, boxing aficionados? What's going on? Hey, yo, check this out, man. I just want to make this video where I'm going to be critical of the critics, right? So, one of the things that happens in the sport of boxing, especially in the sport of boxing, I believe that it's fans, guys who are really just fans, guys like me. I'm a fan of boxing, tend to be over analytical and over critical of what some of these pugilists, these guys who actually get in the ring and have made a career, been in the ring all their lives since they were 5, 6 years old, have trainers, have gone through the amateurs, have gone to Olympic trials, have won belts, have faced competitions. You're going to try and tell them what they're doing wrong. It's worse than being armchair quarterbacks, I believe, because I think at some point anybody has thrown a football, right? Even somebody who's never played on any team in particular or any organized sports has thrown a football. But there's people who've literally never been in a boxing ring, being over analytical of what some of these pugilists can do in the ring or should do, and I just find that hilarious. And I'm gonna just talk about the criticism levied at Teofimo Lopez right now, Teofimo Lopez Jr. Right. So here it is. I've seen a lot of videos, and one in particular, these guys from Ringside Reporter. Now, mind you, I know that they practice the sport. I believe that Beeb guy does box and has been in the ring, and the other guy, I think he does some kind of martial arts, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that they're critical of Teofimo Lopez's performance, focusing on the wrong thing. Like he wasn't busy enough. He didn't throw enough punches, and jab, this, that, and third. And the truth of the matter is, that's when I know that they don't know what they're talking about. Because Teofimo Lopez is not a volume puncher. He's not a guy who goes there and overthrows punches. He's not even a guy that particularly throws a lot of combinations. He's never been that, right? I've watched the kid. Teofimo Lopez is a guy that picks his spots and attacks with hard punches. That's what he does. He doesn't use a jab to range find. He kind of gauges distance in his brain with his vision. And when he throws a jab, it's actually a power punch. It's not a range finder. It's not a jab to just jab, to set something else up. He throws a jab to hurt people, is what he does. And his thing is punch placement. That's what Teofimo Lopez does. Places his punches and times his opponents. If you're going to be critical of Teofimo Lopez, of his performance on Saturday night, if you're not just hating, then be critical of his timing being off, because that's really what was off. His reflexes, he has otherworldly reflexes. And the way I can most describe what I would be critical of, or my criticism, if any, about his performance, is that His timing and his reflexes were not in sync. Timing, reflexes were not in sync. That's all that was off about Teofimo Lopez. As far as him getting hit, I don't know where the hell people are getting this. He got hit too much, or that his I don't understand it. I mean, the guy hardly got hit that fight. I mean, let's be for real. Teofimo Lopez hardly got hit. He didn't make the guy look good against him. There was at no point did Campo look good against him. I'll tell you what Campo did look like. Campo looked like a guy who believed in himself and thought he had a chance to win and was there. You know, he didn't just show up for the paycheck, you know, and kudos to the matchmakers for picking a fighter like that. And kudos to Pedro Campo. I think Pedro is to Campo. Kudos to him that he didn't go into the ring and let the fact that he was obviously going to be overmatched defeat his purpose or dissuade him from putting the best he could do out there. Having said that, the best he could do was exactly what he did, and he got what he got for his efforts. Because Teo is on another level, and Teo demonstrated that he was on that other level. You know, the guy from the Ringside Reporter, the Beeb guy, has taken to saying that Teo will never win another championship. Right? That Teofimo Lopez is never going to be a champion at 140. He said because he can't beat this guy, he can't beat that guy, he can't beat this guy, he can't beat that guy. Meanwhile, what's going to happen with Teo is that he's going to fight probably for the WBO vacant belt against Arnold Barboza. Or he's going to fight for another vacant strap against Arnold Barboza. If Josh Taylor doesn't decide to stay at 140 and face Teo, and that's a big fight. And if he fights Josh Taylor, I give Teo a really good chance of beating Josh Taylor. A, because Josh Taylor is going to be weight drained. All right. If Jack Catterall can do what he did to Josh Taylor, Teo could do it too. You know? Teo could put his hands on Josh Taylor. The times that Teo's been critical or criticized the most have been against Nakatani. You know, meanwhile, he beat an undefeated version of Nakatani, a guy who didn't even know how to lose. Nakatani, who has since proven that when he was at his best, he could get into the ring with hyper athletic fighters that he was put in there to lose to, i.e. Felix Verdejo, and wear them down to the point where he could turn a fight around after taking punishment and knock guys out like he did to Felix Verdejo. So Felix Verdejo saw Nakatani after Teofimo Lopez saw Nakatani. So Teofimo Lopez saw the undefeated version of Nakatani, who had no idea that he could lose. And they were fighting for the IBF mandatory title, like an eliminator. So it was a big fight for both. And Nakatani came to win. And Teo outboxed him. He didn't out-volume him. That's not how he beat Nakatani. He picked his shots and hit him with the harder punches, to the point that even though Nakatani at times made it very uncomfortable for Teo, and garnered a lot of criticism about Teo's performance against Nakatani. Some people thought he was exposed against Nakatani, right? Meanwhile, Nakatani got a broken orbital bone to show for his efforts, because he didn't get the W. Went home with a big old broken orbital bone. A much more defeated fighter than the one that came in against Teo. Teo took something out of Nakatani's life, boxing life. Teo did that. If you break somebody's orbital bone, if you break your opponent's orbital bone, you've taken a lot of his shelf life as a fighter away from him, right? And that's what Teo did. It's like, let's say if Nakatani were a cat, Nakatani lost about three lives. Nakatani lost about 3 of his 9 lives fighting Teo, right? He was a greatly diminished fighter after fighting Teo. And then he went into the ring and still showed he had enough to beat Felix Verdejo. Felix Verdejo was not a pushover. Felix Verdejo was hyper athletic, hard punching, Puerto Rican, And Nakatani, you know what he did to him, right? You know what he did to him. And so, and Felix Verdejo was the house fighter for Top Rank at that point. So I'm gonna fast forward to Saturday night. Pedro Campos was not as good as Nakatani, but he had punching power, and he had enough knockouts so he could hit people hard, right? And he had a belief in himself. Right, he had been 7-0. I think with 4 or 5 knockouts in his last 7 fights coming in, and he thought he could, take it to Teo. He's the one that was fighting. He had been fighting at 140, I believe, and Teo was coming up into the division, and Teo wore him down. Teo punch placed his way to the knockout or the stoppage that he was able to get on Pedro Campos. And this criticism, hyper-analytical criticism of Teofimo Lopez's performance is baffling to me. It's completely baffling to me. What are you criticizing? Oh, well, he took, he didn't work enough. He took time off. He was resting in there. I don't know if he was trying to conserve his energy or if he didn't know if it was get out of here. Teofimo Lopez was never been a hyper volume puncher. He's not his bag. It's never been his bag. Wasn't his bag against any of the fighters. When he got when he got the highlight reel knockouts he was getting in his early appearances with Top Rank, he wasn't in there pummeling people, throwing 100 punches around. That's not what he was doing. He wasn't trying to do that. Teofimo Lopez, about 25, 30 punches around. Maybe. Maybe. Teofimo Lopez is the consummate counterpuncher who wants to set you up using your attack. He's like judo in boxing. He brings the judo in boxing, right? He applies judo concepts to boxing, where in judo, you use your opponent's momentum, and even in jiu-jitsu also, where you use their attack and turn them against them, right? And that's what Teofimo Lopez does. He's a consummate counterpuncher, man. He's going to make you miss. He's going to make you pay. He's going to set you up for something. You think you're backing him into a corner, and basically, he lights you up. You think you're backing him into a corner. Meanwhile, you're walking into something. You know, that's exactly what Teo was doing. This criticism, oh well, he's walking him down. Like I was hearing I just replayed Ring IQ's coverage of the fight, and I'm hearing the panelists say, yeah, well, and even Julius saying, well, he's kind of walking him down. Look at the first 3 or 4 rounds. He's walking him down, and I'm watching the fight. I'm just seeing like, Teo is waiting to hit him with something. He's backing up into a corner to catch him flush with something a la Mayweather. Did Ricky Hatton walk down Mayweather? Did Ricky Hatton walk down Floyd Mayweather? Or did Floyd Mayweather lure him into a trap when he knocked him out? When Floyd Mayweather backed up into that corner and Ricky Hatton came in thinking he was going to do something to Floyd in that corner, when he had him cornered, was that Ricky Hatton walking down Mayweather, or was that Mayweather setting a trap? Right? Was it a trap? Obviously, it was a trap. And that's what Teo was trying to do with Camper. Say, yeah, you're going to come in. Yeah, I'm in this corner. Come get me. You can't touch me. I'm going to hit you. And he did it a couple of times. He dodged everything that Pedro Camper threw at him. And then, boom, boom, take that with you on the way out. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I see that a lot in a lot of boxing fans. If a fighter gets knocked down, that same fighter can get up and knock the person out, and all you hear for the rest of that fighter's career, yeah, but he got knocked down by such and such. They never say the ending of the fight. It's like, wow, yeah, he got knocked down by such and such, and he lost to him? Like you hear the criticism, let's say, they do that a lot to a lot of people. A lot of really great fighters. Yeah, he got knocked down by such and such. Yeah, that's why I'm picking him to lose against this guy, because he got knocked down by such and such. Meanwhile, you're like, wow, well, was that a loss? Let me look at his box rec. And you see the ending of the fight. Oh, TKO of the guy that you just said had knocked him down at some point in the fight. So, man, you basing your criticism on that when the fight ended in a stoppage in the favor of the guy you're being critical of? It's stupid. I'm telling you, boxing fans are stupid. They're annoying, man. Some boxing fans are really, really annoying. The hypercriticism, the know-it-all attitudes, the defeatist mentality, the complaining about everything. Like, well, let's say for the Top Rank card last night, all I heard was, that these are the doldrums of summer, and Top Rank ain't putting nobody, and they were being overcritical about the match. Like if Teofimo Lopez should have came back against Chon Rivera, Chon Cepeda. Like, he lost his last fight, coming off 2 surgeries, and you're not understanding that he's taking a tune-up fight? You want to complain? Meanwhile, the card turned out to be all of them was really good fights, very entertaining, except for that fight. I think the last fight on the ESPN Plus, which was just like, I don't like those fights where 2 guys are just hitting each other, and none of them are really going anywhere with their careers. It's like, why am I watching this, So there was only one fight there that I didn't thoroughly enjoy. I thought, I think it's, what is it? Tyrone? I don't know, that guy, the middleweight that Top Rank had that went rounds with it was a tough little matchup for him. What's that guy's name, man? I apologize. I forget his name. Damn, he's a Jay Prince fighter, I think. Anyway, that guy went rounds with his opponent, whose last name was Tony. I think it's Victor Tony or something like that. You could see that it was a development fight. You could see that he was being frustrated in that fight. He got rounds in that fight. He couldn't just knock that person out, but you could see that he's going to learn a lot from that match. Duke Reagan. Está feo para la foto, mi pana. That guy I think he's a silver medalist in the Olympics. I don't see it. Plus, he comes in the ring with that Earth, Wind, and Fire haircut, afro. Like, what was that? Let your barber do that to you? Nobody in your family tell you, yo, Duke, that haircut ain't working, bro. Like, what is that? Very 1983. Yo, stop, Duke. Who else was in there? Oh, the little Puerto Rican kid. I forget his name. The Puerto Rican kid was matched well. I think he fought Munoz. Munoz against Figueroa. Was it the kid's name Figueroa or something? Omar. Was it Omar something? Omar Rivera? I don't know. But that kid was good. And you could tell that if it would have been an 8-round fight, he might have stopped the guy. That Puerto Rican kid could box. He's a good boxer. He doesn't have overwhelming power, but he has enough power. I think he has like 10-round stoppage power. He's the type of guy that'll stop a person or an opponent, in an accumulation of punches. And in a 6-round fight, he didn't have enough, rounds to stop the person, to stop his opponent. All in all, it was very entertaining. But this overcritical analysis of Teofimo Lopez, please celebrate his comeback. And if you think that kid is not gonna get another belt, you got another thing coming. He will be a champion again. He's gonna be a champion again. Of course he is. I believe he has a good chance against anybody in the 140 division. Anybody. I wouldn't favor him to beat Josh Taylor, but I'd say it's a 50-50 fight. He's that kind of talent. And if Josh Taylor does decide to stay at 140 and see Teo, in the UK, Teo gonna make a lot of money in that UK and go and beat Josh Taylor, that would be a career-defining victory. That would be the type of victory that would propel him into immeasurable heights. Now, is Josh Taylor going to do that? I don't think so. I think Josh Taylor is going to move up, try to get Crawford's belt, whether it's against Crawford or if Crawford moves up after fighting Spence. If that fight happens, if it doesn't happen, then Taylor will fight Crawford in the UK and make that fight happen. Because let's face it, if the fight doesn't happen against Spence, that means that Crawford will still be a free agent. And who's gonna back him in a purse bid? Nobody, right? So he would probably have to fight Taylor in the UK because nobody's gonna overbid for that fight against Top Rank when they could put it in the UK, right? So it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Those of you over criticizers or analytical, hyper, busybodies, you got to take a break, man. Take a break from that, man. Celebrate the kid's victory, celebrate the kid's comeback, celebrate the kid's performance. And if you're gonna be critical of something, then be critical of something that absolutely makes sense. Don't expect him to be a high volume puncher when he's never been that. That's just stupid. Next Level Boxing Talk, I'm out, and God bless.